Hey guys, so my name's Miranda and this is my first video and it's on this channel which I'm going to call the Beauty Project, and my goal for this is to create a space for honest opinions about makeup and providing simple tutorials that kind of branch in from the beginner tutorial to that, more extreme or hard makeup you might see. So it's kind of that middle ground there. So you might be beginning makeup, you might have a lot of those techniques down, but you're not really sure on how to branch out and try them or try different looks. So I want an opportunity to show an honest review of techniques, of products, and providing a kind of mid-tier price point for a lot of things, because I know getting into makeup, everything's so expensive. I don't want you to feel like you have to splurge on say some of the higher end brands, because there are a ton of brands out there that definitely hold up to the test against the higher end. So that is the goal here. And so kicking it off, I am doing this dewy quick look, so it shouldn't take too long. I hope that you enjoy it. If you want to see how to create this look, then stick around. Thank you. Okay, getting started, you should first moisturize with your favorite moisturizer. Mine is the OK glowing moisturizer. Now, it's pretty inexpensive. It's about $14.99, I think, and it really is great. It's very thick and very moisturizing. I've already applied some, but the first step to a glowy look, and especially a dewy look, is to make sure you actually do have your skin nice and moisturized. So starting off there, and then what I like to do is go ahead and add a primer water. Now I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Rose 3-in-1 Primer Water. I, one, love the scent of this, and two, it's inexpensive, so being able to use it in most of my looks doesn't get too pricey. So I don't really use it to set makeup, but it smells really nice and it's very refreshing on the skin, so I like to use it as a primer water. Now, we'll start with the eyes while that dries down. So I'm going to start with the Milani eyeshadow primer. And in my opinion, this is a pretty good dupe for the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer, the primer potion. I used to exclusively use that, but then once I started using this, there's really no point because it works just as well. And it's about a fifth of the price. So getting that in there. We're not going to do too many shadows on the eyes. We're mainly going to do a shimmery look. So I'm going to use the Colourpop Rendezvous palette. Now this one is one of my favorites. It has some really fun colors, so it's very versatile in different looks. But honestly, I typically go for these four. But today we're going to go for Our Secret over here and Fling. So these two are going to be pretty much the only eyeshadows we use on the eyes, otherwise using our contour bronzer. So let's go ahead and get that down. And I'm going to use a big fluffy brush. Typically I use a flat brush when doing these types of shadows, but because I'm going to do it all over the eye, I'm going to just kind of pat it down and get it in there. So I'm going to start in the outer corner and just get that blended out. I'm not going to go too high up because that's going to be mainly for our bronzer when we go in with that. I am going to do the entire lid, and don't worry about getting it a little messy, we will clean it up. I'm going to go in the next one once it's covered. See how it's still a very intense shimmer even without wetting the brush? That's why I really love this palette and Colourpop shimmers, because typically I find they're really easy to work with and they're still very pigmented without even using any type of water on it. Okay, so once we do that, I'm going to take, oh, and this was the, I believe it was It Cosmetics fluffy blending brush. And I'm going to take my Morphe M461, and it's a blending brush that has really light bristles. I'm going to go in and kind of diffuse that a little bit so it's not as harsh. I'm not pressing it in. I'm just doing little circular motions so that it picks up that pigment and pulls it out. There. Now I am going to take a flat brush, and this is an E.L.F brush. It's just the an eyeshadow brush. It's flat. I've had this one for quite a while, so I can't even remember what type it was. And then I'm gonna wet it with the N.Y.X Bear With Me spray. I don't really like this spray for an actual setting spray or primer because the sprayer isn't very nice. It's kind of like being just spritzed in the face. But instead of taking it back, because I really hate wasting product, it does work great for wetting brushes. So then I'm going to take this Fling shade. And you don't need too much because when you wet on this palette, it really does pick up that pigment amazingly. So I don't want to be too intense, because the main look is going to be your face glow, so you don't want too much going on with your eyes. So I'm going to take this on the inner corner and bring it up. I'm just kind of patting and dragging. And what that's doing is it's kind of blending it in with that kind of rose gold shade, and this is going to be that more golden hue for it. Kind of bringing it into the middle. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the brush I was using before with most of the pigment rubbed off. I'm going to start blending it out. There we go. So after I do that, I'm going to go ahead and start in on the next eye. Same thing, kind of patting and rubbing out. Okay. From there, I'm going to take my bronzer. So I'm going to be using the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I'm going to use it as kind of my depth in my eye look as well. I really love this bronzer, mainly because it smells like coconut, but also it's so blendable on the face, and it works really good if you're doing like a natural look too and you don't want to go too heavy on your eyeshadow. You can use this as kind of a contour shade as well for your eyes, and it works perfect. So if you're traveling or you just don't want to use too many products that day, it's really great to use this as a versatile shade. So I'm going to use that in kind of the corner of the eye, kind of in rubbing motions, bring it up from the outer corner and up into the crease. So it's just going to add a little bit of depth with that matte shade in there. There we go. While not detracting from that shimmer. I'm going to go ahead and clean up a little bit, and I'm just going to use a Q-tip, and I'm just going to kind of take and roll this from the outer corner of my eye. There we go. See how it kind of makes a cat eye shape? So I'm taking it from the corner and just rolling and pressing. Be gentle because this is a very sensitive area of your eye, and it's easy to accidentally irritate it or rip it. Next, what I'm going to do is take my Morphe M408 brush, and it's just a small smudging brush. I'm going to take that bronzing shade again because I don't want anything too dark on the bottom lashes, but I do want a little bit of dimension, and just going to kind of smudge that out a little bit and get a little bit of a dimension in there. And I'm going to use a brown eyeshadow today. And this is just the Ulta gel liner, and I honestly love these. I pick them up whenever they are on sale because I think they're $3 typically when Ulta has a sale on them. They work great. They don't transfer, smooth going on. Work just as well as like Urban Decay or anything like that. So I'm just gonna line that waterline lightly and then get my upper waterline as well. So very simple, but it still adds a nice depth to it. And then what I'm going to do next is go ahead and prime my face before doing falsies, because I want to give time for my primer to get tacky. So first I'm going to start off with the E.L.F. Jellypop Dew Primer. Now I love this primer. It's very healthy on the skin. It feels just moisturizing and it looks great and it works amazingly, especially for the price. I think it's $8. So I'm going to use that one. I'm also going to use the Laura Geller Spackle Treatment Primer. Now I love this because it does have a bronzy sheen to it. So it does have some color in there, and it is a skin tone evening primer, and I really do think that works because I don't have terrible uneven skin tone, but I do have like a little bit of a difference with suntan. You know, that's what you get for wearing giant sunglasses when tanning, but I think it provides a nice healthy glow. I mean, look at that. With a nice bronzy finish. So I think it helps when doing a dewy look like this to use something that helps to help even out your skin tone. Just gonna get that in there, and while that sets and gets tacky, I'm going to go in and I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes and put on some falsies. Today I'm going to be using the Ardell Demi Wispies. I'll skip over that part. I am not the most graceful putting these on, but I do think it's really going to help the look. So I'll see you back in a second. Hey, so while I'm letting my other one dry, I just wanted to let you see the difference between the wispies. So we have nothing on this eye, and then I have them applied on this one. And so it really does create a nice, just kind of natural, full lash. And I haven't added mascara or anything like that to it yet. But if you're wondering whether or not you would want to try this look without falsies, I just wanted to give you a chance to see the difference. Okay, we're back, and I have both my falsies applied, and next I'm going to go in with the Milani Most Wanted Lashes Mascara, and I'm just going to apply a little to help blend my lashes in with the falsies because I don't have terribly dark eyelashes, and I don't want it to stand out. So I'm just going to gently apply this because I really don't need much. It's just to help blend those eyelashes in. Okay, so once that's done, and if you're like me, you will have an accident and you will accidentally basically pull off your falsie. I have to go in and get that sucker placed again. There we go. For some reason, it never wants to actually behave. All right, So next I'm going to go in now that my primer is nice and tacky, and it feels so nice on the skin. I feel so like hydrated, like I just used a mask. I'm going to go in with the NYX Bear With Me foundation, and this is in Natural Soft Beige. I think this is still my shade. I haven't used it since I started tanning. I think it might be a little light for me, but we are going to bronze quite a bit, and we are going for a dewy look. So yeah, that's definitely too light for me right now. I spent quite a bit of time out in the sun this summer, so unfortunately most of my foundations are a little light. So I'm just going to add some in with my fingers really quick before going in with my sponge, which is a little gross, so ignore it please. I have another coming in the mail, but it's not here yet. Now I'm using this because it's really light coverage, and I don't want a super high coverage foundation for this look, because the goal is to look pretty light and dewy. And thankfully I am having a good skin day, so I don't have to use too much like concealer or a heavy coverage foundation. Not that you can't use one for a dewy look, of course you can, but I find if you can get away with not using a ton of foundation for a look like this, typically it just helps you out a little bit more. So I'm going to go around, make sure that gets blended in, and then I'm going to go in with my concealer. I'm not going to use a ton. I'm going to use the Laura Geller Spackle concealer. I really do like this. It is pretty full coverage, and I love the applicator. It helps a lot, and I'm going to go put it in the areas I would like to highlight a lot more. And if you're like me and you have a no jawline and you'd like to create the illusion of one, I like to put it over here quite a bit so that I can kind of fool the world, and put it on the bridge of my nose, then a little bit here. It's the It Cosmetics blending concealer brush. I love this. It works amazing at getting that really blended into the skin. See how full coverage that is? You can kind of see the difference there. And I want it to be seen because I do want it to stand out a bit on those areas I want to highlight, because those are going to be the areas that would naturally shine. I don't know why I love doing looks like this when it's fall. Maybe because it's not as hot out, so it's not as suspicious looking dewy as it is in the summer. Because trust me, I have no problem looking like I sweat enough to fill 2 Olympic-sized pools in the summer. So just gonna go back in with my blending sponge, make sure it's all blended in and melted nicely into the skin. Okay. Now that I have that done, what I'm going to do is, before I go in with any bronzer, I'm going to go ahead and set my makeup once. And this is the Catrice Prime and Fine Illuminating Dewy Fixing Spray. So I love this. For one, it really does provide a nice healthy glow, and I like doing it before putting any kind of powder on, because I feel like it helps that makeup set and melt into the skin a little bit easier, especially for looks like these, when you don't want the powder to look like it's sitting on the skin. You don't want it to really look like anything at all, because you want that healthy dewy glow. And I feel like powder kind of mattifies it, so it's almost like you're counterproductive. But we do want to set that makeup. So while this dries really quick, I'm going to go ahead and get out my Collab setting powder. I use this, it is in the color Ivory Sand, and I got this at Sally Beauty Supply. I think it's $14.99. I got this because Juicy Jazz talks about it in her videos pretty much all the time, and honestly it really is a great product. It looks like porcelain on the skin. It doesn't really settle into fine lines at all, and I love it. And for me, considering most of my shopping is done at Ulta, because I would be what the scientists call a point hoarder, it pretty much takes an act of God to get me to buy something that isn't at Ulta. And this is definitely something I will repurchase. So definitely do recommend it. Give it a shot if you're in the market for a new setting powder. It's not the cheapest, but it isn't the most expensive, that's for sure. And you get a ton of product. I use this pretty much every time I do my makeup now, and I've barely scratched the surface of what's in here. So, and they have several different shades, if I'm remembering correctly. They also, I think, have a banana powder. So I'm probably gonna get that sometime soon and try it out for like baking. Now, this is pretty dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and start setting my under eye makeup and let that set for a second. I'm taking the Morphe M554 brush. I'm gonna go ahead and put it where I want it. And I love Morphe, but they have brushes that shed so much all the time. I'm gonna have to redo that falsie. It's not wanting to stay. I'll have to do that in a minute. Might do that while this sets and then just ping back in, because I need to give this a minute or two anyway. Just let it settle in. And I like making sure I set around my nose to prevent separation or caking around the nose. There we go. So while that sets, I'm gonna fix this little rebellious lash and I'll be right back. Okay, well while that dries and this is still setting, I'm gonna go in and do my bottom lashes since I completely forgot to do that. So I'm going to use that same mascara as before. I'm just going to lightly do my bottom lashes. I don't want it too intense. So just light strokes there. See, not too bad. There we go. Okay. So from there, let's go ahead and finish setting the face. I'm going to take this Real Techniques blush brush. I love this brush. Not for blush, I actually like doing it just as a full face brush. I feel like using it instead of an actual face brush, like a full face brush, helps with a little bit more precision, especially when you're going around like your eyes, and it's just a little bit easier to control that powder placement. Just making sure I get everywhere. Okay. Now that that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and go back in with my contour. So I'm gonna use the Butter Bronzer again. I do love this because it's great buildable coverage, and I'm gonna go in with the Morphe M05 brush. I love this for contour because it's nice and fluffy and it just has a nice natural look to it when you use it. So I'm gonna go ahead and go down here, and it helps with me because my sideburns kind of guide the way for where mine should be. But if not, just make sure you follow right underneath your cheekbone, because you're just gonna be carving out your face a little bit, because we want to be bronzy for this look, because a good glow comes with a good bronze. So just going in, getting that blended out. And don't forget, you know, do your hairline and get that blended in as well, because you do not want a bronze helmet going on. Okay, so once that's done, we're gonna go in, and like I said before, I like to create that fake jawline. So I'm gonna start carving that out as well. This also helps if you've been tanning a lot and you have a bit of an uneven skin tone on your face and your neck. It helps to kind of bronze out your neck a little bit so it doesn't look like a stark contrast with the rest of your body. But for me, it's just to fake the masses out. If you're like me and you can't hide behind your hair, you gotta get out in your neckline as well. Okay, so once that's taken care of, I'm taking my Morphe M50 brush, and it's like a tiny blending brush, and I'm gonna get around my nose. Blend that down. So next I'm going to go in with my highlighter, and I am going to use, wherever it went, where'd it go? I'm actually going to use my angled blush brush for my highlighter today because I have a lot to highlight, because this is dewy and that's where we get to that sparkle. So I'm going to take the BH Cosmetics Blushing in Bali palette. This is so versatile and I use it a ton. I love the mirror in it as well. It's a great shape, and we're mainly going to be using this light shade and this mid shade and then the blush out of this palette today. So I'm going to be mixing Glisten and Sunkissed. So just a couple strokes each first, and then I'm going to carve out that jawline a little bit. Looks like I need a little bit more. Okay. See how it creates a nice effect where it highlights underneath that contour? And ta-da! You can fake what God didn't give you. So let's just go in here. Looks like the sun is going out for me behind me. Let's adjust this lighting really quick. There we go. I think that works. Okay, so going in there. All right, now doing the same thing, getting both of those on your brush. Gonna take it in that C shape around your face, and don't be afraid to get it where you're going to place your blush, because that's going to just create a nice dewy base for your blush. Now, if you weren't planning on signaling the aliens, well, this was not the look for you, because this is practically going to scream, "Take me." Then a little bit on your chin, not too much. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is use the blush brush for literally anything but the blush, because I'm going to go in with the stippling brush, stippling, whatever you want to call it, the Morphe 406 brush. I love this for blush because it gives a really nice diffused color. And I'm going to go in with the coral shade out of the palette. I'm going to get that on there, but I'm also going to, once I tap off a little bit of that pigment, go back in with Sunkissed, because again, we want everything to glow here. So even the blush. And then what I like to do when I'm doing my blush, instead of smiling big to get your apples to pop, is to have a soft smile, because you're not constantly going to be looking like you're grinning. So you don't want it to look like that when you have your resting face. If you're like me, your resting face doesn't have a smile at all. So you don't want to look funny with that. So just a gentle smile and taking it up and out. So gives kind of a nice sun-kissed look, like you just got back from the beach, something like that. And you got sunburned, but it looks good on you. It's like God chose you to be kissed by the sun right now. And I do want to blend that out a little bit, so I'm going to take that powder brush I had from before and kind of just blend that in. Look at that glow. Get it. Okay. So, and then what I like to do, and I got this from one of my best friends, Benny. So thank you, babe. I'm stealing it. I'm going to take a little bit of blush and highlighter, same ones as before, and just kind of placing it across the bridge of your nose, because you can't really see it too much except for in person, but it provides such a nice little cute touch of looking like you have been out in the sun. I just love it. And it makes sense because she's the most adorable thing ever, even without the blush touch. So, finish blending that out. Okay, so next I gotta do my eyebrows. So what I'm gonna go in with is the Colourpop Brow Boss pencil in, I believe this one's soft black. Yes. So it is a very dark brown. It's really not black at all, so it's not going to look super intense, but I want a very rough brow. I don't know why, I just love a rough brow with this look. It looks so adorable in my opinion. So I'm just going to fill in the middle here and take outward strokes. Because the goal here isn't to have a bold brow, it's just to kind of fill in any of those spots, blend it out and upwards. If you're like me, you don't have like those amazing Instagram brows, so you gotta work with what you have. And this really helps fill them out to provide that illusion. And it wears all day, so I love that. I'm not going to set it with anything because I don't think it's really necessary. Sometimes if I know I'm going to be out and about, I will definitely set, because I don't want the tail end of my eyebrow being down by my ear. So I know I'm not really going to go out much today, so I'm not going to go ahead and do that. But next what I'm going to do is my lips, and I'm going to actually start with an eyeshadow brush. And I'm going to go with the IT Cosmetics blending brush. I love this. It's very dense, so it's great for blending out eyeshadow, but it's also great for precision lines, if I can speak today. And I'm going to go back in with that Sunkissed shade. First, I'm going to moisturize a little bit. And this is just a Farmer's Market chapstick. Very nice and hydrating. I'm very picky about my chapsticks. I don't like dry lips at all, and this is amazing. If they actually sold it, I would recommend it, but unfortunately it's just at the local farmer shop. So what I'm going to do is place it on my Cupid's bow. Just highlighting that area. And then highlighting just the curve of my lip. Because we're not going to go heavy on the lipstick today. Now I swear, for some reason, this is not wanting to obey today. Okay, done, I swear. Okay, so then I'm going to go in with my lipstick. I need to put on my glasses for this because I am as blind as a bat. So, get these on for a second. All right, and then I'm gonna go in with first a lip liner. And technically when you do like liquid lips, you don't always need one, but I prefer doing it when I'm not going to do a matte lip. So I'm gonna go in with the Milani 03 Nude Creamy Lip Liner. Sorry, Color Statement Lip Liner. I love these, great natural look. Sometimes I'll use them with just a gloss on top, and it stays all day. Creates a very natural fade too. That's why I like to cover the lip in it. All right. Once that's done, and I'm going to go in with my gloss. So I'm going to go in with the Laura Geller Nude Kisses gloss. Now this does have a little bit of glitter in it, but it's not super noticeable. I do really like this gloss. It has a lip hugging stick, which I think is great for placement. And this is in the color Peach Please. So just gonna go over that liner, and as you can see, it's a very natural looking lip gloss. I like these because they're not super sticky at all, and they have a nice staying power for gloss, and they're pretty pigmented. So with that, all I have to do is set, and I am done. So I'm going to go back in with the Catrice Illuminating Prime and Fine spray again. And I really do like that. The spray is very diffused. It isn't like being sprayed straight in the face, which is nice. And then it does settle in and provide a nice healthy glow without being overwhelming, which is really nice. So this is gonna dry really quick with the help of my handy dandy fan. And then I'm gonna fix my hair really quick and we will be done. Okay, so this is the finished look. As you can see, you are glowing like the goddess you are, or god, whatever you wanna be. And it is very nice, healthy glow without like a lot of glitter. Honestly, I don't think any of the products we used have like glitter in them. And the eyes, while very sultry, aren't hard, so that's really nice. Quick tutorial and look when you're doing it if you don't struggle with your eyelashes like I do. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you come back again.